on the cover of the paperback is written a comment of Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, and he says, supposing we're in this building now, supposing a meteor hits the planet and these walls are destroyed and all the people in the room destroyed, everything's destroyed. When everything that settles down, the ashes and the debris, would anything have happened to the space? What do you think? What do you think, Nina? Did you mean to say nothing happens to the space before your mother told you? Did you mean to say that? A little bit, yes, right. Mommy, you have to stop coaching. Her answer might have been better than my answer. But according to Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, nothing happens to the space. Supposing it wasn't a meteor and we remained the same, but the walls were taken down. Something caused the building, to blow away, and we were left sitting here. What would happen to the space? It would just merge with the other space, right? With the space. It's only the walls that make it seem as though space is divided. Do you ever walk into a new apartment and say, oh, look, dear, look how much space we have. And then you put the furniture in, and what happened to the space? There's no space left. But you love the space when you come in. And then you fill it up, and that lovely space is no longer there. It's the same with a candle. When a candle is extinguished, what happens to the waves of the ocean that look so beautiful as they come into the shore? And then they go back into the ocean. When they existed, they existed. But when they went back into the ocean, they became part of that ocean. The same with our consciousness and our soul. When we drop the body, the soul, the consciousness, merges with the consciousness, the supreme consciousness, as happens in our meditation. That's the meaning of yoga. When our individual consciousness merges with supreme consciousness. It's a simple definition, but how difficult to experience it directly, so that you know it's happening. Somebody once said, Joan, these words are lovely, but can you tell me an easy way to drop my ego? I said, yes. Have no more opinions about anything. No more likes or dislikes. Just let life happen and flow with it. She said, that's not an easy way. That's not an easy way. Not to have any opinions. Yeah, opinions come from the past or from other people. We don't get opinions on our own. We're influenced by others. We're, as Krishnamurti said, second-hand people. That's why the word nirvana became most important in Buddhist terminology. It means cessation of a flame, the total cessation of a flame. It remains because whatsoever is remains, but you cannot find it. The flame remains, but we cannot find it. Where will you find a flame which is no more? Individuality is lost, form is lost. Where will you find it? But can you say it is no more? It is, because how can a thing which was be no more? It disappeared, of course. Became one with the formless, of course. Became one with the whole, of course. But it is. Now it exists as the whole. Easier to understand than the flame going out is watching a wave as it comes in. While it's there, it has reality. We say, what a beautiful wave, and the surface, a great wave. They love that. But the minute that wave goes back into the ocean, the surfers are looking for another wave. But it doesn't mean when the wave existed that it didn't exist. The same with a dream. We don't remember the dreams accurately, but while the dream was going on, did it exist? Vidyadhari, what? Did the dream exist as a dream? Sure. But when you woke up and you try to remember, where did it go? It went back into the ocean of consciousness. Where does the soul go? This is the big surprise. Back in the ocean of consciousness until it's magnetically drawn back to its attachments. And that's why the soul takes the embodiment that it does. It's brought back, according to Gurdjieff, by magnetic radio waves. Drawn back. Now, you have both possibilities. You can live in time, but know if you live in time, you live as mind. Mind is time, because mind divides life into the past, the present, the future. Mind is the dividing factor. Mind is a great analyst, the great dissector. It dissects everything. You can live life through the mind, then you live in time. But you can live life directly. You can live life immediately without mind. You can put the mind aside. Then you live life timelessly, eternally. Then you have no past. Then there's no future. Then there's only the present. There's only the present and present and present. It's always there. This next thought is something that I hadn't heard before or read before in this way, and I read it 4 or 5 times because I liked it so much. The past is the present. The past is that present which you cannot see. And future is that present which you cannot see yet. Past is that present which has passed beyond you, beyond your perception. Future is that present which has not yet come within the boundaries of your perception. That's interesting. The future is that which has not yet come within the boundaries of your perception. And he gives a very small but wonderful example. Supposing you're waiting under a long, tall tree for someone. You can look at the road, but there is a limitation. You can look 1 furlong to one side, 1 furlong to the other side, and then the road disappears. But another man is sitting in the tree, at the top of the tree. He can see further. He can see 1 mile in one direction, 1 mile in another direction. But it's you who are waiting for a friend. The friend appears not for you, but for the man who's sitting at the top of the tree. The moment the friend appears on the road, he has become present to the man at the top of the tree. But to you, he's still the future. Do you still understand? You got it? Just nod your head. She says, I think so. What do you think, Ileana? You get this? That the one on the ground can't see the friend yet. The one on the top, and you're not his friend, sees you before your friend sees you. But you still exist in the future. The friend exists in the future for you, but not for the man on the top of the tree. The moment the friend appears on the road, he has become present to the man at the top of the tree. But to you, he's still future. He hasn't yet appeared on the road. Unless he comes within your boundary of perception, he will not be present. He is future. So past, future, and present are relative. It depends on your height and where you are. That's why Jains insist that Mahavir knows all the 3 tenses of time because of his height. He can see end to end. Nothing is hidden from him. So whatsoever you think is past is still present for him. And whatsoever you think is future is present for him. Now back to our story. The friend appears, you talk to him for a while, and then the friend moves on, leaving you there. And you watch as he goes. After 1 furlong, he disappears for you. He has become past. But for the man on the top of the tree, he's still part of present. It depends how wide the compass of your understanding is. If your compass is total, then there's no time. Then you can see end to end. Then everything of the past is also present right now. I can give you an example that you'll easily understand. For many years, I was for many years in psychology and psychiatry. They thought it was necessary for people to go into long years of therapy for analysis, so they could go deep into their past and discover why they had problems today. Sometimes they even put them under hypnosis to go back in time. There's a new approach. I was part of that because I was working as a stress therapist in a clinic. And I was delighted to hear that the new approach was not, they didn't feel, the therapists and the analysts didn't feel it was helpful to keep someone more than a year in intense therapy. And they said, we can tell, even if you don't remember, it's not necessary to remember childhood trauma. We can conclude from your behavior today, from your reactions today, what your problems are. We don't have to get into every nitty-gritty of your past life. Especially, there are things that happened when you were infants you don't even remember, that shocked you because it was unexpected to your little constitution, that kept you frightened or phobic throughout your adult life. They said, we'll go into it a little bit, but then I'd rather have you come back when there was something going on of a troublesome nature that you couldn't figure out yourself, and then we can look into it. What was he saying? That your present reveals your past, right? So look at the money I just saved you. If you need help, just go for a few visits. And if you really want to save money, forget about it. Forget about your past. Forget about the whole kit and caboodle. And go into the present now, because those are problems of the mind. Guruji used to say to us all the time, every problem that exists in this room, every problem that any of you have, belongs in the category of the body, the mind, or the senses. And those are changing all the time, and they are not you. Can you think of any problem, he would ask us, that is not related to either the body, or the mind, or the senses? Pamela, you can't, can you? I see you thinking hard, but no, I'll give you the answer. Every problem we have is related to something that's not real. The body's not real because it's always changing. The mind is not real, it's always changing. The senses are not real, they're always changing. The definition of reality is given that which does not change. Do you realize how how much time and energy we spend on problems that are not real. Some problems we can solve, but don't agonize over a problem. Because nature has a way of taking care of problems if you're relaxed about them. But really relaxed, not pretending. Positive energy comes in to solve problems. If you don't, if you get caught in them, then you're ignoring their usefulness. Their usefulness is to make you drop them. They're so painful and so difficult to control that all you do is run away like Basil. Never mind this, I'm going to the woods to sleep. It's the best thing. Suffering, pain is a great teacher. It teaches you where you need go. Any questions so far? We only have a couple pages. Any questions so far? This is one of those nights where we don't have a cultural event, and so we can go till 9 o'clock. And I chose this reading because it's very important. If we can get the substance of this, we need not suffer anymore the way we have been. So are there any questions about this? You're about to hear what's needed in order to be always in the present, how the gurus manage to do that. The gurus are always on the top of the tree. This guru, this powerful guru, he would meet you and know 3 generations. Your grandparents, your parents, and you. And if you press to me, would know the 4th, your children. He would know they're able to instantly see the past, present, and future, because they're on that plane beyond time, beyond space. If your compass, he says it depends how wide the compass of your understanding is. If your compass is total, then there is no time. Then you can see end to end. Then everything of the past is also present right now. Then everything that is going to happen in the future is also present right now. A quick, no, I won't do it, it'll take too long. But there are examples people have had visions in their meditation of events such as the assassination of John F. Kennedy. There were a dozen people who had visions of Gandhi being assassinated, and they warned him, not tried to warn him. He says, if I'm going to be assassinated, what difference does it make if I'm inside or outside? It's meant to be. I'm going to be assassinated. So let me go out. He didn't say this, but his attitude was, let me do it in style. Let me do it so it will be remembered. People who die ordinarily, they're not remembered. But Gandhi, what did he say? I forgive you. I forgive you, my child or my son, to his assassin. I forgive you. No problem. And you know how Jesus took his death, his crucifixion. That's what we need, not ordinary responses. So you have both possibilities. You can exist through your mind, but then please understand, you are limited. It is just as if you're looking from a window towards the sky. Then the frame of the window becomes the frame of the sky. The frame of the mind becomes the frame of your world. Then you jump out of the window, you come out under the whole sky. Now there's no frame. In French painting, a new cult is arising. The cult of paintings without frames. It's a beautiful phenomenon because all frames are false. In life, everything exists without a frame. But when you paint a picture, why do you put a frame around it? Do you ever think about it? Here's our painter. Why put a frame around it, they're saying, right? Let it go free. That frame is the most false thing. And the irony is that sometimes people purchase such beautiful and decorative frames that even the picture's not as costly as the frame. The frame is more costly, more precious, and the frame is false. Life exists without a frame. Have you seen life anywhere with a frame? But you take a picture, immediately a frame comes into existence. The frame is false. All frames are from the mind. Mind gives a frame to everything, which is frameless, formless. So please remember this. You can be both. It depends on you. In deep meditation, the mind is no longer involved. It goes on functioning in the beginning, but by and by, when you don't listen to it, it stops its chattering. Problem is, we become fascinated by the thoughts we have in meditation. I know so many people, they come to me saying, you look like you're an expert in meditation. You must be experienced. How do you get your thinking, your thoughts, to stop interfering with your meditative state? And I answered the way our teenagers answer, with great difficulty. You too? Absolutely. I'm an old salty dog meditator. I know a lot about it, and still the mind catches me. Still, I'll sit down and I'll check the time because I have time constraints, and I'll see it's early, and it will seem like I'm meditating. I open my eyes to look at the clock, and I can't believe the whole half hour is gone, and I've just been thinking, and I didn't know it. And the clock reminded me. They were nice thoughts, good thoughts about the readings, about Gurji, spiritual thoughts, but I was existing in time, in memory. So I instantly said no. Now begin the meditation. Now get down to business. So it will happen. What is needed is to become so established in witnessing that most of the time it doesn't take you so long to realize you're not beyond the mind, you're in the mind. And we have to be less interested in that thinking. Our problem is we're interested. If we weren't interested, if suddenly we remembered a stupid television show you saw, or a ridiculous conversation you had on the telephone, you say, I don't want that. But if the thoughts are interesting and beautiful and compassionate and spiritual, you get caught. A lot of you are looking at me as if you don't know what I'm talking about. Show me the meditators in the room. Are you ever caught like that? Raise your hand. Sure. Because the more powerful you are, the more powerful your mind is, the more interesting the thoughts. You have to, at some point, he said, not be interested. He said, seeing that nobody bothers, seeing that nobody pays any attention, the mind will stop presenting thoughts. The mind is just like a child. Have you ever seen a child do this? He falls down, and as soon as he falls down, the first thing he does is look for his mother to see if she's around somewhere. If she is, then he cries. If she's not around, what's the point? Then he simply gets up and starts playing again, because there's no point. Nobody's paying any attention. Nobody will bother unless the mother is there. And sometimes it happens, I've seen this, sometimes it happens that after half an hour, the mother appears, and then he starts crying. Now it's absurd, because for a half hour he hasn't been crying. But in a way, it's very logical. Because what's the point in crying when the mother is not there. Even if you're hurt, it's pointless. When the mother comes now, the hurt is no more, but it's very meaningful to cry and weep for the hurt, which is no more, because the mother now is expected to pay attention. The mind is like a child. If you pay attention, it cries. If you pay attention, it creates problems. In other words, if you give it a high seat. If you pay attention, the mind will go on and on. There's no end to it. If you don't pay attention, suddenly the child realizes the mother is no more. The child by and by realizes the mother's gone, so he stops. When the mind stops, you are immediate. Then you face reality directly. Then there's no mediator in between, nobody to color it. Then the perception is clear, it's pure, and you are in eternity. I read this, there's so much more, but that's when my heart stopped. So sometimes you get to a sentence like that, I'll read it again. When the mind stops, you are immediate, meaning you are in the present. Then you face reality directly. Then there's no mediator in between, nobody to color it, no other opinions, no other viewpoints, no other conclusions. Then the perception is clear, the perception is pure, and you are home. You're back at your source, and you are in eternity. Krishnamurti was one of my other teachers. Gurji introduced us to a whole group of teachers. Krishnamurti was a living teacher. And he would look, he was kind of a cold man, except when he was with children. He suddenly changed when he was with children. But when he was with us, he was so impatient with our minds. He just couldn't stand it. He said, "Why do you settle for a mediocre life? Why do you live as second-hand individuals?" And he spoke with this clipped British accent. You put your head down. Because he's always scolding us, and we never left his talk happy. We left feeling more knowing, more alert, but depressed, because he just asked questions of us. He never gave solutions. He said, "Why is that? I'm curious. Can anyone tell me here why you remain foolish an entire lifetime? Why don't you wake up? You're sleeping. You're not changing. Are you changing?" He would say. People go, no, you change. He was thoroughly intimidating, but it was nice because he instantly brought you that immediate awakening, and you really felt that you needed that. You needed that slap. That he was never gentle, except with children. He was a completely different person with children. But I happened to be in a small group for a few evenings with his other selected people from the audience, and he was very tough, very hard on adults. Very hard on adults. And I really think he was one of the avatars, one of those enlightened ones who was sent to be harsh, to wake us up. Because the other gurus, they're sweet, they tell us stories, they give us examples, they play the role of father for us and friend, and they're willing to write letters if your children need to get into college. They do all these things that a friend, father, this and do. And all they ask in return is that we wake up, that we're sound asleep. And their teachings reflect always that we're sound asleep, as you just heard now. So the examples given were a little strange, but the statements that our present dictates, our past dictates our present, we can all see that. That even in the past there is the present. There was that present that caused this present to be. And the future that's coming is going to contain this present, but not right now. Coming. We have to reach a point where we're beyond time, where we're not living in time. Because when we live in time, we become victims of the mind. And as someone asked today about the mind, we need a mind. If you didn't have a mind, a thinking mind, you wouldn't even know to come here. You need to know directions, you need to know when, you need to know what time the program. We need a mind. And that's why you come to a place like this, because the mind really is searching for, the intuitive mind is really searching for the knowledge it needs. But the knowledge we need, the mind that we need, contains necessary knowledge that we need to function, to relate to people, to get on with a job. We need that. But the psychological, what Krishnamurti called the psychological mind, what Gurji called the individual mind, the selfish mind, only involved with things that are necessary for you, not the universal mind that has a natural compassion for those who are suffering. So we need to transform our individual mind into our universal, into our cosmic mind. Because it's only that mind that can experience totally what we are, the I am. And it's worth it. Sri Nisargadatta from I Am That said last week, you won't regret it. No regrets. No regrets. But you have to understand the simple thing, and that's why we loved Gurji so much. He said, don't complicate it. If you're drawn to books, read books. If you're drawn to music, read music. If you're drawn to scholarly study the scriptures. Whatever reconnects you. If you're drawn to being in nature, nature is a great teacher. It will empty the mind for you, fill it with things that are unnatural. He said, but if you're drawn to being in complete peace, never neglect your meditation. And if you're not even drawn to meditation, here's a commercial for the ashram. Buy the witnessing from second to second that's in the gift shop. It's my voice, but it's owned by the ashram. Every day I hear that more and more people are saying that that has helped them the most. It, as he said, Osho, it helps in the beginning to give you the knack of witnessing. But once you have the knack, you witness on your own. It's hard to witness when you've all the time been judging. You can't be a witness and a judge at the same time, can you? No. They'll say you're out of order as the witness. The witness has to step down. She's being a judge, not a witness. But we do it all the time. We have to learn to witness. The witnessing you hear on the tape, it's my voice, it's Gurji's teaching, it's Gurji's meditation. So if you're having trouble with meditation, you don't want to use a tape, at least start to pay more attention during the day in your waking state. If you would like some help, start out with that, the witnessing. And after a while, you'll see you'll need that only when the mind is too frenetic. Then you put the tape on and instantly it brings you back. It doesn't talk about witnessing. It witnesses with you. You're with the process. So I'm always accused of pushing that, but I do urge people to get it because it's been the most helpful tool that the bookshop has carried for people who want to get the real sense of what witnessing is. It goes through it. It's a transcription of a guided process that was done in the Cosmic Temple 3 years ago, which I transcribed and did again in a studio. So it would be nice. Okay, my job's over. Do you have any questions? I'm the reader. In case you don't know who I am, I'm the reader. And I'm the radio for Gurji. Gurji has several radios, many radios, as residents and staff. He talks through them, he answers through them. I'm just one of the radios. Do you have a question for the radio? This is a very unusual radio. It answers questions. As a radio, though. Yes?
Hi. Actually, I'm getting married next Saturday.
Yes.
So,
congratulations, I think.
Absolutely.
It's good. Okay.
Actually, this is my bachelorette weekend, so 11 of us came here.
This is, for a yogi, this is considered a bachelor's weekend. Things are looking up in the world, aren't they? Great. Are you having a good time?
Amazing.
Oh, okay, good. So what's the question?
So, kind of, I can get rid of my mind, and I have my moments in meditation, but then I have a partner that, just any thoughts you have on, there are definite moments, like we're taking dance lessons to do a dance at the wedding, and there are moments there where we dance, and the mind disappears, and we connect, and it's just that other body connection. So how do you take that through the rest of your life together?
Keep dancing. I mean, in the true sense of the word. In the true sense of the word. Don't take these things so seriously. They're just moods. They're just stress. We've been married a long time, and best remedy for a bad day or an argument that came up, make sure you kiss each other goodnight and you go to bed. Don't stay mad, because it's only the mind holding on to rubbish, to garbage. You have to understand. It always helps to understand this, especially, and Pamela, it's almost the same question you raised today.
That's my sister-in-law.
Oh, that's your sister-in-law.
Married my brother. Yeah.
Married, and you both have similar. Okay, I didn't recognize because you had your hair pulled back today, and that's your mother. Okay, so you're all together, and that's your bachelor party. Your mother and your sister. Who else is here?
My mother-in-law, my future mother-in-law is here.
Your future mother. Where's your future? Hello. Listen, future mother-in-law, you're not allowed to tell your son what we discuss here. Don't tell your son.
Beautiful, wonderful person.
Okay. Remember that. The bachelor's a wonderful, marvelous person. And remember the answer I gave. He should keep dancing.
Keep dancing, never go to bed
Angry. It's a very good thing. And if you can remember that, to dance in life, doesn't have to be physical, just dance lightly through life. Dance through life. You'll have challenges, you'll have sad things, you'll have wonderful things, but take it. Gurji's saying, he loved this statement. Do you know why angels fly? Do you know why? Not because they have wings, but because they take things lightly. They take things lightly. Don't make a drama about everything. It is a drama. You don't have to make a drama. It's a comedy drama. I like the movies that say comedy drama. I like that. But your answer was right in your question. When you dance, you're happy. When you talk, when you think, you're miserable. You want your marriage to last? Dance. And fill it with music. And fill it with nature. And come to the ashram and bring. Okay, bring him. Because we're great. We're like Fred Astaire, We're great teachers of dancing. So if any teacher at this ashram is gloomy and depressed, let us know. Because it means that they're having a bad time and they should go to Bermuda for a while and then come back, because we picked up, Gurji was so cheerful all the time. He was so adorable, so approachable, so simpatico, you know. He knew right away where you were suffering. And he would go, don't worry, everything's going to be all right. You told him you just lost a job, you will get a better job, don't worry. And you did. Somehow you did, because he saw that for yogis on their journey, it's important that they keep losing their job because it meant that they were neutralizing that desire and moving on to something higher. There has to be neutralizing, otherwise we have to come back to repeat that, since it wasn't finished, it didn't have closure. At some point, the great philosophers have told us that we have to reach a point of disinterestedness, neither being too eager to be born, neither being too concerned about being born. It's okay to be born again, it's okay not to be born again. It's okay to have this business, it's okay not to have this business. It's okay to be married, it's okay not to be married. Just to let life happen as an adventure. It's okay. Because once there's real closure inside, you won't have to do it anymore, what you don't like. It's naturally taken care of. But if you think, I'm going to leave this because I think I'll get more gratification from doing that job, you got to learn again. Got to go through it again. Because Gurji said it, our real purpose in life is to return to the source through self-inquiry of who I am. And you can have a good time. I didn't have to divorce him because he was my best friend, my helper. And even if he weren't interested in these teachings, at least your husband should allow you to have a bachelor party at the ashram, come back in 5 years as a married woman having another party, you know. It says something when that's understood. He may not be where you are in your understanding, but it's something that he wants you to be happy. He wants you to do what will give you the greatest happiness, peace of mind. I heard from his mother, he's a wonderful man. And the fact that you're here, and he accepts that and doesn't make fun of you. Has he?
Originally I was going to do a silent retreat on my own, and that he laughed at.
Oh. He laughed at the silent retreat that I'm giving in May. I want you to work on him so that he lets you go in May.
This is a man who's not silent very often, so the concept is very foreign to him.
I see. Well, wait till he hears that you were absolutely silent on the silent retreat, because it's easy at our retreats. Okay, any question? Because it's just the time that I wanted to stop 9 o'clock. And I'd like to, let's see. Yeah, let's have 2 minutes of silent meditation. And then I'm going to call on 2 people tonight to see if they would lead kirtan for us. And they are our beloved Krishna Devi and Luke Prasad. Would you help with kirtan? I know you love to do kirtan. Or anybody else who loves to do kirtan? We could have a whole group. Well, we like it too, so we'll take part in that. But for now, close your eyes and drop everything. Take a deep breath, breathe in deeply, and slowly release. And feel your body going into a let go. Not caring, not wanting. Just content to be. Enough has happened this evening. Certain truths have penetrated. And according to Gurji, our cells remember. In the presence of truth, our cells dance. And we feel that dance as pulsation, as tingling. So just in the next 2 minutes of silence, be alert, attentive to the inner dance, a dance of celebration, having come home. Krishna Deva, would you lead us in our traditional prayer? Thank you, Krishna Devi.